You know what, right? That was only on the screen because I was testing something earlier. Also, fuck me, my voice is worse today. Oh, I didn't really realise. Oh, dear. Oh, I just sound way sicker today. Even though I feel better. Well, I don't feel completely better, but, no, that was not a different intro. At all. Does that sound okay, though? It's fine. The reason that was doing that is because I've got this set up. Ah, I was testing that. It went away again. Let me just put that back. Yeah, I don't know why the background music's cutting out either. Like, I'm testing a version with the chat, like, on the side and the desktop there. Not always to use. Just, you know, when it's relevant. There's going to be some times where it's relevant. Oh, my voice. Oh, I tried to go high there, and instead of going high, my voice just disappeared. Wow, that doesn't sound good today. Well... I'll just try my best. It's not gone well out the gate, has it? It's just not. It's just not. I don't know why the background music cut out either. You know what? We're going to test something here as well. Yesterday, people were commenting on the noise, which has always been a thing. Well, it's been a thing for a while. It's not new, but I want to try one more thing right now, and that is I'm going to turn off the noise suppression in OBS briefly, and then you'll hear all the noise, right? Right, there's the default fucking, like, floor. That's the default noise floor. It shouldn't be like that, but it is. I don't know why. And I'm going to try the NVIDIA Broadcast Noise Removal, which I've installed since, right? I don't know why the noise is that bad. Let's turn it on, shall we? How much worse does that sound? Does it sound better or worse? Probably worse. For some reason, the only noise suppression that seems to actually sound decent is the really, really low quality noise reduction. It sounds the same. Oh. Ah. So it does. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, no. That's not noise removal. That's great. Love that. Audio interface using. It's not the interface. I think it's the mic itself. It's not the. I tested yesterday bypassing the entire audio chain and just plugging the mic directly into the input on the PC. To be clear, on the PC, I've got a Wave XLR, but it's purely just to be able to. It's purely an external interface. That it's not powering the mic or doing the audio effect chain. It's just an input. That integrates very nicely with OBS, which is why I have it. But you'd think it'd be the interface. Using an SM7. Yeah, no, you'd think it'd be the interface, right? Because the SM7 has like a bad noise floor, right? You need to give it loads of fucking amplification to get it at a reasonable level. Do you need to drink something? My throat's bad. I've been sick. It is what it is. We can deal with it or not. No, so the SM7. It's not that. It's not USB ports, I assure you. So the SM7 needs a load of amplification, right? There's kind of 3 ways you can do that. Well, you can use a cloud lifter. I've got a cloud lifter here, which is just provides clean. You put 48 volt phantom power in. It provides a clean extra what? Fucking 50 decibels? I can't remember. 36 maybe. Option 2 is using a DBX compressor, which I also have. That can also provide reasonably clean gain. Or option 3, have a very high quality preamp, like a really high quality USB interface, which I also have. I've got an Apollo Twin, which is a very, very, very nice audio interface. And the thing is, it's not any of them. Everything I do, no matter how I do it, there's not lots of noise. Like, and what's quite frustrating with the SM7 is when you Google that problem, everyone's like, yeah, you just need to run it. You know, it's the same thing you're saying to me, which is perfectly, yes, I shouldn't be getting this much noise. This is exactly my point. It's not USB. It's not. I assure you, there's some, I think, at this point, considering I've tested everything independently, it's not USB noise, it's not electrical interference, it's every type of noise has a different sound. This noise sounds like it's the amount it's the amount of noise you'd expect from a SM7 without doing anything to it. Well, actually, it's worse. And then the problem is when I Google the problem, obviously, every result is like, oh, you need to just use a cloud lifter or put it through a better interface or have a better power supply or use a DS or use a ground loop isolator or use this, that, and the other, right? And I just think there's something wrong with the actual microphone. Does the Twin have an external power supply? I mean, it does, but the Twin's not causing it. I assure you, the Twin's not causing it. Neither is the DBX. Neither is the Waveling XLR. Neither is ground loop or my cables or... Yeah, it's the mic itself. Why? It's not the cable. It's not the cable. Look, it wouldn't be like this if it was something I could have fixed already, I assure you. Like, if it was a cable, I don't know why. It's the way it is. I have tested everything apart from just a different mic. It doesn't sound good with the filter. I mean, when I've listened back to my streams, it doesn't sound... SM7's supposed to sound really good. Now, admittedly, my voice is a thing, but still, have I tried another mic? Well, no, I haven't, but obviously, trying another mic is very difficult. I don't have another mic, and they are expensive. I've half debated, in the past few days, buying another SM7 on Amazon, swapping out and see if it does anything, and just sending it back, just to test it, which I might do. Yeah, use 58 30 quid. Yeah, no, there's this thing. Yeah, but I've not got a job anymore, so I'm trying to keep my costs relatively low. God, my voice sounds absolutely atrocious. But yeah, my intention is I want to test. I want to buy like an SM7. Oh no, actually, how much are they on? SM7B. I mean, ideally, I'd quite like to get a SM7DB. Louse Grouse? No, I appreciate everyone's suggestions. It's not. I assure you, I've tried it. It's not going by default. Okay, by default, my mic effects chain is actually annoyingly complicated, and you could easily look at it and go, "Well, it's any of these things," because it would be, right? It's not. My full effects chain is SM7 into a DBX 286, a DBX 286 compressor, vocal compressor. Or vocal, it's a vocal preamp with loads of effects chains on it. It's got a de-esser and a compressor in it. It's got clean gain. Then that comes out of that, goes into a ground loop isolator. Wait, it's going to the ground loop isolator after that. No, it comes out of that, goes into the Apollo Twin, then comes out of the Apollo Twin, goes into the Apollo Twin, which is connected to my Mac, goes out of the Apollo Twin into a ground loop, ground loop isolator, then goes into the Wave XLR. The ground loop isolator fixed my ground hum. I had a really bad ground hum problem for a while, which turned out was a ground isolation issue. And even then, it originally just went into the back of my computer. I just had it in the, you know, the fucking mic in port on the back of my motherboard. Because I'm like, I'm not bad on a fucking interface. But there's electrical interference on that because it's on the motherboard, right? So it's just close to everything. So got an external thing that fixed that. Got a ground loop isolator, fixed that. But the issue with this mic is it feels like it's gotten worse over time. Like it's gotten worse over time. It wasn't this bad when I got it at all. And if I just have the mic through a cloud lifter into the Apollo, still does it. If it's just the mic into the Apollo, still does it. If it's just the mic direct into the PC, direct into the Wave XLR, which is what I tried yesterday on stream, it's identical. It is so confusing. Like, the only other thing I could potentially put it down to is its RF interference on the cables themselves. Oh, my voice just sounds bad. My throat's fine. It just sounds bad as well. Yeah, it's got to be the mic then, right? Like, I say, the one thing the only other thing I can think of is its interference on the cables themselves, like RF interference. But yeah, I don't think it is, because it doesn't sound quite right. And even then, I've tried a lot of different XLR cables. I've got really nice audio cables. I've really nice audio jacks. I've got fucking thingies on them. It's a whole thing. Shielded. Oh, very shit. Yeah, no, like. See, I have a point, right? I make a point with when I do equipment, I get good quality shit. I get really good quality shit, so I never have to replace it. Yet, is USB 3? Oh no, the mic. Well, the mic's not. The mic's just an XLR mic. Yeah, it's balanced. And it's not, like, I made these cables myself. But it's not. It's not the cables I've made, because it does it on... It always does it. There is no way I've been able to make it not do it. So it's the mic. It's the mic. It's the microphone. Which is why... I'm tempted by the idea of a SM7DB, because that does the amplification in the mic itself, or one of those sort of more modern Elgato mics, because they just handle everything in the mic, and then it's USB right into the computer, which means there is no chance of failure along the chain. But equally, I quite like my big chain, and when it works really well. And I don't really see any reason I should get rid of all of this. I like it. It's just the mic, and I don't know why. Like, the SM7 has, like, toggled switches in the back, and I thought, oh, maybe it's something to do with those switches, and I messed with them. Didn't do it. Why the fuck? Everyone goes on about the SM7, and it doesn't break for anyone, right? It's a really reliable microphone. It's been around for almost 50 fucking years. Yet... it's been in my office for like a few years, and it's broken. Oh, my voice should get better the more I talk. Yeah, no, the switches on the back are just filters, but, you know. I just tried a bunch of stuff. Phantom power. No, the SM7 doesn't use phantom power. Doesn't use phantom power. You must have the one bad SM7 in the world. Yeah, but equally, if it is the mic, I'd rather fix it than replace it, because replacing it's expensive. And why would it have... Why would it broken? Why? Like, the Nubis hit... Like, there is a potential thing with it, with the Phantom. Nubis. Phantom power This doesn't use phantom power, but obviously things can provide phantom power to it. And there's been like a... there's probably been 1 or 2 instances where it's had phantom power fed to it. By accident. Could that have broken it? I might try and take it apart. What's the warranty on them like? Like, what's the warranty like? What's Shaw's support like? You know, there a 10-year guarantee on them. That'd be nice. Yes, Azrael. Like, it's Matt's law. It's Matt's law. It's Matt's law. I appreciate. Excellent. I enjoy the 2 exactly conflicting statements against whether like, that's why I really like being on the internet, because I get loads of different things, which is really helpful, to be clear. But everyone also has different reads on the same things. I'm just going to try and contact Shaw support. I kind of want to open it up. But as I say, I think what I might do first is just buy one and send it back. Just buy one, stick it in, stick an identical new mic in, see if it's any different. Because if it's not any different, then it's definitely not the mic. Opening stuff was not used great warranties. You're allowed to, legally speaking, you're allowed to open your stuff up. And keep the warranty. They're not actually allowed to decline warranty for that, anyone. But I know people. I know some of these things get fussy. Yeah. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. Today, game-wise, wish to play some flight sim activities. Like the landing challenges. For some reason, right, like on my chat, the one I can see, which is different to the one on the screen, I see YouTube messages come way, like Twitch messages go to both at the same time, whereas the YouTube messages, they come through to my chat immediately, but on the screen they take like a good 20 seconds, which is really strange. And yeah, the new flight sim's coming out. I'm excited for it. I thought I might as well play some stuff on this, just because when Flight Simulator 2024 comes out, I imagine it'll have these in it still, but I'm probably never going to touch this version again when the new one comes out. The new one's going to be like a drop-in replacement for me, so you know. Oh, ting tang, well, all the bing bang. Oh, that throat. Wait, I have an idea. Wait, it's the classic idea. Did that help? No, that didn't help at all. Yeah, a bit. Maybe a little bit. Maybe the goggle helped. Just a tiny little bit. He's hitting the bong. I don't have a bong up here. That's downstairs. Yeah! See, mix a chestnut. See? Yeah! Weird, isn't it? Actually, here's a question. Would you prefer this or black that? Like, would you prefer it just full screen like normal, or would you prefer it in a little like that? Because a game like Flight Sim, I like, because there's like a there's like a there's like a middle ground place. It's got full screen with chatting option. It can be. I mean, this specific layout is more for stuff like GeoGuessr, where, like, having them both on the screen, especially for the VOD, is really nice, and it's more interactive. Whereas full screen, if I'm just, like, playing a game and, like, chat's relevant, but not immediately, like... Flight Simulator is kind of in the middle of the two for me, which is why I'm asking which you'd prefer. As a layout, this is very much just a test. If I have a proper one like this, it's gonna have animations and everything's gonna move, and the chat's gonna have a shadow on it, and yada yada yada. Oh, Nubis, you're not spamming. People think full screen. Full screen is. Read the post on YouTube and click your link in your streaming. Talk about service. Yeah, no, I figured I should. Even though I feel a bit poo, I should probably try and stream a lot at the moment and take advantage of the extra traffic, or the little bit of extra traffic. It's quite funny with YouTube. Like, I'm streaming on YouTube mainly just... There's two reasons I'm streaming on YouTube. Number one, I'm not partnered on YouTube. And to get partnered on YouTube, to actually be able to have, like, subs and stuff on there, you have to hit a certain amount of watch hours. Which I have not. So that's to get that off. But also, I'm just trying to... It's not any more faff to add YouTube to the mix. So for people who want to watch on YouTube, because I know that YouTube as a platform, like, if you watch on YouTube, a lot of people prefer watching it on YouTube, because on YouTube you can rewind it and you can pause it and the quality can be a bit better. And if you have YouTube Premium or whatever, you don't have to watch any ads. But simultaneously, the Twitch chat always tends to be a better place to use the chat. So I might as well just provide both, because why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? How's it go? Actually, let's have a look. Eligibility. I need 3,000 public watch hours in total in the last year. And I've hit about 1,000. So I'm a third of the way there from just, like, the last few weeks of streaming. So, it's fine. Membership on YouTube is not a thing yet. It is and it isn't. Like, I know because John streams on YouTube primarily. And, I used to. I switched to Twitch a long time ago just because there was more people on there and there's a bigger sense of community and yada yada yada. But, like, why not provide both? Hey, why not both? Let's hope it doesn't reset in January. It doesn't. It's in the last 365 days from the date you're looking at it. Lars Kraus, speaking of, will you be uploading more clips to YouTube again? Yes! If there are good clips to upload. I'm kind of just getting into it more now. It seems easier to me. It's easy to watch the VOD on YouTube. But this is it. Like, I might as well have both. Why not? Bye, Nubis. Why not? I still got my HOTAS test set up from yesterday in the weird ATR, like the ATR orientation, which I've got 2 throttle levers, 2 like mixer levers, and flaps. Which I'm hoping I can just use for everything in these, so I don't have to swap for every fucking landing challenge. Like, let's test it with a little boy. Let's test it with you. Let's just test if everything works. Boop, press the mic button. Sorry, crowd. Starting Cork had the funniest pilot interaction there. The first time I landed in Cork, ladies and gentlemen, we were landing 5 minutes quite a airport if we could find it. Maybe fuck it. I mean, that's a weird landing pattern. Why are we going up this direction? Why are we doing such a tight turn to land? Alright. Yeah, it's fine. Give it a go. I will say, because I like flying loads of different stuff in quick succession, and everything I've got here is purposely very customizable. It's just reconfiguring everything every time is fucking annoying. I really wish this was smart. You know, I wish that like if I took these throttles off and stuck 4 throttles on the middle, it would know I'd stuck 4 throttles on and go, oh, you want 4 throttle levers. Or if I took fucking hell. It's loud. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There we go. Right, okay. Right. Oh, I've only got throttle levers here. I don't have any. Oh, I don't have any mixers. Interesting. Must be automatic on this plane, because this plane's for fancy boys. Let me just center this again. Right. Cedric, having chat on screen would help making YouTube feel less lonely. That is another thing as well. Let's config for landing here, shall we? Here's a test run. I'm not doing this one that properly, in fairness. It's a nice little plane, this as well. And I've got my little eye tracker on, my head tracker. It's both. Where's the airport? Admittedly, that's quite a problem if I don't... Is that it? That's it. No, this isn't 2024. It's not out yet. Shut up. You know what? I could have been a lot worse. You still get game codes through. Not for me. I'll take that. That wasn't the worst. That was actually surprisingly precise. Just not very smooth. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I don't get Gotta remember, if I ever got game codes before, they were through Nerdcube. Let's try that again. More properly this time. If I ever get game codes through, they were through Nerdcube. And obviously, it's not an option anymore. So, I mean, I did occasionally get codes through independently of Nerdcube, through my own stuff. But I haven't really. Stick my head out the window. I haven't really done that, had that set up as like a priority or anything before, because it wasn't really that relevant. It will be, but there's no way me at the size I am is getting. I don't know. I've got contacts. I've still got a lot of good contacts. It's just the way you get codes has changed a lot in the past few years. They used to just like kind of send it to them on a ad hoc basis, just by default, even if you weren't going to play it. Whereas now, modern, they do these like modern websites like Keymailer or Terminals or whatever, and they usually track your thing, because a lot more, to use an annoying term, micro influencers have become a big thing in marketing, which is what game codes are for, right? They're a marketing tool. So like sponsorships and codes and everything like that is like really standardized now. And they base whether you get them through whether you've been engaging in the past. Ooh, not great on the center line there. I think this is somehow going to be worse than the one where I was just practicing. I like the squeaky brakes. Squeak, 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 squeak. Yeah, that was worse. Significantly worse. Impressive. Right, fantastic. Well, admittedly, you joke about the World of Tanks office, but like those like sponsorship offers are pretty standardized. Like Twitch has them. Like I'm getting them constantly through like Twitch and fucking Stream Elements. Um I'm getting offers for sponsorships. But and I was debating trying one to see what they're like. Because one of the frustrating things is I hate them and I don't want to do them. But we were able to do that on NerdCube because NerdCube made enough money that we didn't really have to. I say that. I got made redundant because we weren't making enough money. But the point stands, right? Like, whereas now, this is not, I'm not expecting this to make me nearly enough money to live on. And I'm like looking at it going, well, that might, but I don't know whether I still want to. But I'm debating just trying one, see what it's like. Because they have all these requirements, and I'm reading them going, I bet I could fulfill those requirements in a really bullshit way. You know? You know, like they're like, you must mention this. And I'm like, yeah, but I bet I can mention that with a certain amount of context. I bet I could do the entire thing really sarcastically. But you know. But also, the price these things are offering. Where is the airport? Where is the airport? I don't know. Oh, it's windy though. Like Tom's got search shop ads. Not quite. I mean, the thing is on Twitch, how it works is it's not just an ad read for 30 seconds. Ad reads for 30 seconds are easy enough to do. God, it's windy. Whereas on here, the way it works is they go, hey, you've got to play the game for an hour on Twitch, which is a much different thing. And they have a minimum number of viewers that you must hit if you want the payout. And even then, that payout's a minimum payout. And like, it was like an hour. It was like it's like an hour of work where you're doing something you don't want to do. And like, the payouts for a lot of these are like $40. Which, oh, there it is. Oh, I can just hold that button and it will show me it. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like $40. And that's like a minimum viewership of like 70 over an hour. And it's like, it doesn't feel worth it for 30, 25 quid, you know? You know, back in the day with NerdCube, it always used to be a thing where sponsorships, back in the day, not anymore, back in the day, it used to be, you know, you'd be offered several thousand for a sponsorship. You know, you'd be offered enough that it would pay, you know, a wage for a month. Whereas on here, it's different, and now it's different because the value of it's gone down a lot. And I don't know. I think if I were offered more, that'd be a different consideration. But at the price they're offering, I'm like, meh. The amount you'd have to do to make it viable at that point would make it not worth it to me. Oh, fucking hell, the winds are strong. Jesus. Anyway, we can make the hour fun. The point stands, though. They'd have to pay me more if I was going to do them. I'm not shilling for something. I mean, it doesn't have to be shilly even, does it? But, you know, still. Fucking hell. Jesus! Fucking hell, that's across. Fuck me. $40 ain't much. No, it's not. Fucking hell. Jesus. How social does make people so pissy about sponsors? Yeah, but I tend to not like them either, because I don't like shilling for something. And even then, fuck me, um, even then, it's sort of like, it's not just an ad read for like a fucking VPN, which like whatever, right? Like, I feel like that's a reasonably honest sponsorship. Going, hey, do you want a VPN? You can watch international Netflix. And I was like, yeah, all right. That was actually surprisingly smooth. Not straight, but smooth. There's a joke there, but I couldn't. Ah, well, my thing was, yeah, no, it wasn't bad. I was actually quite precise. Ground roll wasn't good because I was off the centre line, but it was reasonable. It was quite smooth and quite precise. I just, yeah, oh, that's all right. I'll take that. Um, Mr. Flay Fox, sponsorships immediately make me take any positivity about product service with a grain of salt. Well, that's the big thing for me. Something I like about never doing them, like as a policy, never doing them, which was an IQ policy. Something that's really nice about that is no one can ever doubt your like editorial independence. Like if I recommend something, you know that there's no ulterior motive. I am not making money for it. I'm never going to be making money for it. I'm not like because even if you're not doing a sponsorship on it, there is a suspicion that someone might be trying to just be nice about it because they've worked with that developer in the past, or they want to work with that company in the past. They don't want to, they don't try and rock the boat too much and yada yada. And if I can avoid that, I will, right? Like, that is something. That's something I'm only open to in the specific context of like an ad read in a YouTube video, for a really simple thing. I feel like some advertisements are quite honest and others require a level of dishonesty from the brand. I'm not saying the creators are dishonest, but just inherently. Um, just inherently. Um, like, I'm trying to think. Jay Foreman advertising a VPN is a great example of one I think's fine. Because it's not related to the content. I think that's the other big thing, is that if the thing you're advertising is completely unrelated to the actual kind of stuff you're making, that still means there's no doubt about your editorial. But with gaming, it's problematic because obviously if you're doing sponsorships in gaming, you're doing sponsorships for games, which is potentially a massive conflict of interest. Versus, doing a comedy education video and then having an ad read for a VPN so you can watch international Netflix, which is a valid thing. It's going, hey, do you want this thing so you can watch international Netflix? Yeah, that's quite an honest advertisement for something that is unrelated to the content. I have a problem with stuff like factor meals, like Inverse Galaxies they're saying. And stuff like HelloFresh, because stuff that's making dietary or health claims, stuff like BetterHelp that's making like mental health, whereas stuff like a VPN or like fucking, those like websites that have courses on them. It's like, hey, this website has some courses on them. If you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, you're not. I think that's very honest. Whereas I'm not saying Factor and stuff like that aren't honest. I don't like them. Like the smelly water. Like, I'm kind of whatever about the smelly water because it's not making any health claims. It's just going, hey, you want your water to smell like strawberries? And I'm like, no, not really. No, but it's not claiming to do anything else, is it? Right? Is BetterHelp still some people's info? I have no idea. I know BetterHelp's had a load of controversy. I don't know specifically what, but I'm uncomfortable with them regardless. Just uncomfortable. And that's the thing. Inverse Galaxy as well. Sponsor blocks a game to interview. That's the thing. On YouTube, you can skip the sponsorship. There's tools that let you skip them. Twitch. If you're doing an hour-long fucking sponsored bit, you can't avoid that unless you stop watching. In which case, the payout's based on how many people were fucking watching. So if everyone skipped it, you wouldn't make any money. And what was the point then? You know? Ooh, little plane. Okay. You know, it's just, George Farron, I can see you with an iFix sponsorship and such other things for your past streams. Technically, they almost sort of have, actually. I know, weirdly. Ages ago, I mean years, I like tweeted that, I tweeted it as well. Free Eel on Twitter. I tweeted that, like, I'd lost my iFixit toolkit. It was really annoying because I somehow lost it in my house. And I get a DM from, like, iFix's outreach manager, because I was using them on stream, being like, oh, we can just send you another one. I'm like, oh, cool. It wasn't with the goal of anything. They were just like, oh, you're using it on stream, it'd be nice if we sent you another one so you can keep using them on stream. And I was like, yeah, okay. You know, and then they sent me the new set of tools, and then I immediately found my old set of tools, and now I've just got 2 sets of iFixit screwdriver sets. Ooh. Yeah. I always love the little general aviation, like, wind. iFixit's great, and I'm a big fan of iFixit. I'm a big fan of what they do. I'm a big fan of their products. I buy from them a lot. Their guides are really good. I think they're ethically very good. Like, great. I'm happy to promote. But that's the thing, right? My recommendation of iFixit, I think, holds less weight if they're paying me money to recommend them. And part of my thing is I want to recommend iFixit to people, regardless of if they pay me, right? God, I am going to... Oh dear. Fuck that at the end. No, I think iFixit are great. Oh, my voice is sounding a little better. You know, I think iFixit is really good. I use their tools. I mean, I would have totally bought that. They've got like a fancy new soldering iron out. And that's something I would have totally bought from them if I didn't already have a really nice soldering iron. Which, admittedly, the really nice soldering iron I bought because iFixit recommended it as a really nice high-end soldering iron. Because my thing with anything I ever buy is buy once. Spend more, buy once. I think it fights against enshittification. I think it fights against sort of e-waste. And it also means that if I'm doing something, I'm not really limited by the tools. I kind of want to buy tools, then be perfect what I need them for, and then always work. Never need to replace them, and are always reliable. And then they last forever. Like, I don't know with everything. I've been having that problem with instruments now because like I've started doing drum lessons, but I don't have a drum kit. I have a practice pad, but I want to get a kit. Now, practically, I can't really get a real drum kit because neighbors, even with mute pads, right? Like, so I want an electric kit, but electric kits, more than any other kind of instrument. I mean, the closest other instrument is piano, I'd argue. Um, how much you spend on an e-kit directly impacts what you can even do with it. Um, like an electric piano, like if you buy a nice electric piano versus a cheap electric piano, you can tell the difference. But as long as they have the pedals and stuff, you can play everything on them. But electric drums, you are missing things. You are physically missing things. Electric drum kits are still fairly loud. Nowhere near as loud as actual drums, though. Jesus. Jesus Christ. How the fuck? That's such a steep... like, an electric kit, at least the ones I've looked at, are as loud as the practice pad I have. And that's fine. Like, actual drum kits are exponentially louder. Like, they're loud. Like hitting something is going to make a noise, obviously, quite a noise, either way, but I can't get a real drum kit. That's not an option. And you can get electric drum kits for, 300 quid or something. But, they're shit. And they're missing, like, you physically can't do certain things. I was even talking to my drum teacher. I mean, cheap electric kits, they don't even have a real, a real foot, pedal thing. Like, actual ones obviously have a hammer on, that's going bang, 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 and how you play is impacted by that not being right. And the same, whereas some cheap electric kits, they'll differentiate between what different bits you're hitting and the size of them, obviously. Like, cheap electric kits just have tiny little pads and stuff. And I find it frustrating because I don't want to buy cheap. Because I know for a fact, if I get into drums and I buy a cheaper kit, I'm going to have to replace it. I don't want to. But I can't afford a nice one yet. So I'm just sort of... I'd kind of rather not buy one at all unless I can get a decent one. Because, like, with a guitar, you could buy a 100 quid guitar and learn an 100 quid guitar. Absolutely fine. Like, that £100 guitar is never going to really limit you. It might not be great, and it might not sound amazing, but it's never going to limit what you can play. It might have a different sound profile than you're necessarily looking for. Where am I? Fucking hell, I hate this one. Gee, okay, I'm over there, that's fine. I do have eye tracking going on. Well, in this one it's more head tracking. I've got the eye tracking basically turned off. Because every time I was glancing at the chat, I was like looking out the left window. So like I'm glancing at the chat now and it's not changing, but if I move my head a bit, yeah. Are you going to play drums long term as a temporary fixation? Well, that's the other thing. I don't know. I think so. I mean, I like all my instruments. I've always wanted to learn every instrument, and every instrument I've ever learnt, I have played a lot and keep playing and still enjoy. Fucking hell. It's not a fucking runway, it's a pier. Ties the van, you can always try and buy a second-hand one and resell it if you want to upgrade. So, when I was looking at them, you can get ones that, like, have a good controller and a good bass, and obviously you can add individual modules. And that was my thing. I was like, well, I think it'd make more sense to just buy a more simple kit, but with a good kind of controller, and then I can just buy individual elements to it. And I found a good second-hand one. It's just, again, I'm not doing it now because I've just lost my job, so probably shouldn't. Do I have the best instrument of all, clown horn? Yes, it's on my desk. Ooh, that wasn't good. Let's try again. You have to do such a steep descent at the end there, and the wind's so bad. Um, no, that's my thing with the drum kit because like I have a nice guitar and a nice like ukulele, for example, and I have a lot of nice instruments, but I have them because I find them I find them enjoyable. You know, I have it, but £100 guitar isn't what doesn't limit you playing guitar or learning guitar, whereas a £100 e kit does. It limits what you can play on it. And even then, even if I bought a nice one, it still limits what you can play on it. I mean, I was looking around. There's only one kit that even supports brushes if you want to play brushes on an electric kit, which is a whole thing in and of itself. Um, I just need to come in over there. Ooh, from there. You need to like come in on the right there and kind of slide in rather than descend directly over the hill. Um, do not touch screens, but I want to. This is why drummers are so hard. I'm like, no, it is. Drums, as an instrument, are very personal. I mean, kits are all different. They're expensive. They take up a lot of space. They take up more space than any other normal instrument. It's like maybe a piano, and they're incredibly loud. So that's why I always see, Americans always have them because a lot of Americans live in fucking detached houses and they have garages you can put them in and have more disposable income. I've never met a British drummer, you know. Like, drummers are great. My drum teacher's really nice. One of the nice things about drums, though, one of the advantages of drums when learning them versus other instruments is arguably a lot of the skills for drumming you can actually practice without a kit. Like, I can practice a lot of stuff just with my practice pad and my sticks. Because I can practice getting my rhythms right and getting my actual wrist movements right, my hand movements right. And then, I can practice individual control of each of my limbs, for example, just by tapping. Obviously, you can't fully learn unless you're on an actual kit, but still, like, there's a lot you can do with just the practice pad. So that's the other advantage, is that I don't need a drum kit right away to make some progress and start learning it a bit. Which is quite nice. Jesus. Shite. Yeah, I kind of want to come down that way, don't I? mm. Mm. I mean, I'd take the punt and buy one if it's a larger job, but I don't. So, woo! Come on, drifting it in. I'm drifting it in, and flat. Fuck me. I'd landed a bit long on the runway. Ugh. But it was smooth-ish. Oh dear. Oh wow, that's 1,000. I mean, it was smoother. I'm gonna consider that one. I tipped past it. I landed. Got that going for me. um. Oh, I'll try all that. If I'm doing the big boys like the jets, I want to change my controls around, but I'll do all the little ones first. Well, cork. Let's go with corks. Someone mentioned cork earlier. I don't know. I just love general aviation alarms. That's what they sound like. That's my impression of a general aviation alarm. It's not just like a solid beep. Beep! You know, like it is in other planes, or like the stick shaker. Stick shaker. But you know. Anyway, let's actually... Ooh, you know what might make me better at this? I didn't actually get high in the sky yesterday. Right. Now, where's this fucking airport? Where is this fucking airport? How the fuck can I not see the airport? Here's why I quite like the head tracker, because that natural urge when you're playing something to like lean forward does work, and it does actually expand your view a little bit, you know. Like I'm like, oh, I want to see around that column, and I'm like, I just can't. There's a wind turbine. That's not a runway. It's a big airport. I feel like I should be able to see it. Is it over there? I'm pointing. You can't. Is it over that way? Is it over there? There's a mark on the map. It's fine. Wait. Do not smoke while oxygen use. Bollocks. If you can't land a plane high, what can you do? Well, I'm not high yet. Medically, I'm gonna have to say this every time, don't I? I got given my weed by a doctor. I have legal doctor-approved weed, thank you very much. I can't fucking see a runway. Am I blind? Probably. Dr. Grass. No. A few different doctors, actually. We're all quite nice. I have legal doctor-approved amphetamines. You're not special. Hey, I'm not. I'm just saying. You have legal. You live in a country that's completely legalized it. Sweet. Which country? It should be legal fully everywhere, I think. But Canada. Ah, Canada. Wait, that it? God, this is a long... Oh, there it is! I can see it! That's a long fucking final, Jesus. Some of these it starts you like right near the runway, and others it like put you way back. I mean, there's no passengers, it's fine. The only thing that matters is the plane, and not crashing it. Right. Your weed was sold to you by the government. Cedric, what government? Can it be my government? Well, the Labour Party sold me my weed. I mean, I'll get it through the NHS, sadly, which would be amazing because I get free prescriptions. I get free prescriptions on the NHS, which I know is obviously a thing normally, but I get free prescriptions on the NHS in England, which is novel. I don't have to pay the £9 per prescription fee or whatever. And I love the idea of having the government just give me weed, but unfortunately you have to get it privately. But it's not that expensive. I'm a bit high. Wait, not like that. Right, let's move around a little bit.
500.
Canada as well. In your province, weed is sold by a crown corporation. Wild. I mean, I get why it's more important in like the US and Canada to do weed, because there's nothing else to do there. Like, I love being able to lean up to see, like, over my instrument panel. It's really handy. Alright, here we come. I'm a bit off the center line, but it'll be fine, probably. Here we go. Bring the speed down a bit. In a right rudder. A bit more right rudder. And got the engines. I'm off the center line. Oh, and I'm slightly overrun the threshold, but that's fine. Well, squirrely. That was squirrely. That was squirrely. That wasn't great. Smooth, though. I got a B. You know what? I'll take that. There's a B! Yeah, no, my ground roll was fucking atrocious, but reasonably smooth. Very precise, weirdly. Considering I didn't know where the runway was. I'll take it. Just about B. I'm a little... Oh. It's landing precision plus ground roll times by smoothness. Oh. I was confused how I was getting 2 million when it's like out of 10,200. Yeah, so if you... Okay, that makes sense. So if my ground roll was a little better, it would have been times by 140, so it would have been extra. Okay, fair enough. I'll take that. B for boy, I need to get more height. There are A320 challenges. There are. But for the jets, I mean, there's quite a few A320 landing challenges. There's those 4 at least in this strong wind one. And then there's the 2 or the 3 747 ones. But I'm going to do all the small planes first. Then I'm going to change my actual controls, like my throttles out for Airbus and Boeing ones. Because I have a specific Airbus throttle pack, so I have more accurate Airbus controls. Annoyingly, my new side stick hasn't arrived yet. I don't think it's going to arrive till February, but I ordered it a while ago, so maybe. Let's try the Bahama. Ooh, that's pretty. That's pretty. Nassau. Let's try Nassau. More like Nassau. That's what happened when they launched Columbia. Fucking hell. Oh. There's your Nassau fucking NASA accident joke for the day. I could have went with Apollo 1 as well. That would have been an option. Need that be right. Gears down, yeah. See, like, we're really close to the runway this time. Is the Spruce Goose not for any of these challenges? No, sadly. The Spruce Goose is an add-on. They only have the default planes and the landing challenges. I wonder if there'll be more in the new game. Like, I'd love custom landing challenges to be more of a thing. Okay, just scooting around. Yeah, there aren't any water landing challenges, actually. That is true. There probably will be in the new one, because there's a lot more, there's more flying boats in that. I mean, you know, I can just make my own landing challenge. But obviously I don't get graded on them. So, Shift yourself. Plane. More like plane in the ass. Am I right? I mean, in this, there is the Dune orthnocopter. Orthnocopter? There's the weird little, like, dragonfly things from Dune. There's that ridiculous made-up hypersonic jet from Top Gun Maverick. And there's the pelican from Halo. That are officially in this. Ornithopter. Thopter. I really like flying the Ornithopter. If I'm, like, flying around exploring in Flight Simulator, especially on the Xbox in my living room, I use the Ornithopter because it's fast, but it can VTOL and everything. It's fun. It's just fun to fly. You know what? This isn't bad so far. Come on, trim down a bit. Ooh! There we go. My engines weren't throttling down for some reason. Fucking hell. Whoa! Oh, you know, that was smooth. That was smooth. There wasn't even a ka-dunk noise. It just went nice. How does the Ornithopter fly with your flight controls? I haven't actually tried it with these. I mean, it's perfect. It's great on an Xbox controller, obviously, but it's well, bad. My ground roll's not great. I'm saying that means just how much you're off the center line. And I'm off the center line quite a bit. But my actual landing, pretty good. You know, just slightly in the wrong place. Which you could say is a big problem, and I would say it doesn't matter. Judge Farron, I'm struggling to get reverse thrust working properly on my Thrustmaster Airbus throttles. I seem to recall you had issues with reverse thrust. I mean, I've had slight issues with everything on them at some point, but it's more due to how Microsoft Flight Simulator works. Actually, it sort of isn't. Like, annoyingly, well, okay, there's two things. The Thrustmaster, sorry, not the Thrustmaster, the Honeycomb. Oh, your Thrustmaster Airbus throttles. Well, I have a Honeycomb Airbus throttle, sorry. But, on the throttles on this, there's loads of buttons, right? Like, next to the, above the throttles. Next to loads of lights, right? Master caution, alarm, engine fire, the ice, yada, 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 right? But you also have, like, a flap button, like a general aviation style flap toggle on the right side. Which I don't understand, because I can just put flaps on one of the levers. And I don't know why I wouldn't. I mean, there's a very specific use case if you're only flying general aviation planes that don't have a flap lever. But, I mean, come on, it's just another redundant one. And then all these switches here. By default, they're set to control lights. But the switches on the actual yoke that are on the base for the yoke also control the lights. And they're meant to start the lights. So, by default, half of the buttons are just doing the duplicate of what other buttons did. And they recently, there used to be this other problem in Flight Simulator, which Flight Simulator has fixed, but Thrustmaster hasn't, in that, for some reason, early on in Flight Simulator, there's lots of different ways buttons can work, right? You might have a toggle switch that's just click, click. It has one click on it. And you want to click it once and it turns on, then click it once and turns off, for example. But you also have actual toggle, like normal switches that go up or down. They are on or off. But some can be on and off, like technically. But others, both sides of the lever are a different button. One's button 43, one's button 44. And by default, Flight Simulator only supported like toggling lights on and off. Like, you know, if you're landing lights, you press the button to turn them on, you press the same button to turn them off. Which makes sense on a controller. But the second you got a thing like this, it meant I had to flick the switch and then flick it back again just to turn. I'd have to flick the switch twice to turn on and off a light. And they finally added those controls in properly. They finally added them in properly. If I go into controls here, in the Bravo throttle quadrant, you can see, like, oh, it isn't even set here. Oh wait, no, it's this one. No, alpha. So yeah, you can see now. See, beacon lights on or off. It's on or off. They're two different buttons. See all these two different buttons. They can be on or off, but both are individual states. Whereas previously, actually you can see they're new. Previously, taxi lights were, where are they? Set taxi lights. That was the only thing before, and that means it just sets them to on or off every time you click them. However, even though Microsoft Flight Simulator fixed this in an update, and their options now, Thrustmaster didn't. So I had to manually rebind all of them, which is incredibly annoying, especially because you got to have multiple control schemes set up on these feeds, especially the throttle quadrant. So if you change the settings for like just a 2-engine prop, you also have to reset it up on a 1-engine prop and a 2-engine jet and a 4-engine jet and an Airbus 4-engine jet and an Airbus 2-engine jet, and like it's just it's such a faff. And I'm hoping when MFS 2024 comes out, the default control options will be better and you don't have to fanny on with them. Because actually that's another thing. Reverse thrust. Someone mentioned reverse thrust. Let's get this stuff right. So if I just pull one of these off because I need the actual twiddly twiddle. No, that's the wrong one. Quadrant, there it is. So power management throttle, there it is. So throttle's obviously there. There's a whole throttle reverse thrust option. And reverse thrust works differently, massively differently on every plane. On Airbuses, there's like a lever on top as part of the lever. And that lever engages reverse thrust when you're like at the bottom. But then on an Airbus, an actual Airbus, the throttles have like a lock button, and they can go to the bottom and be 0%, but then you can quiddle up the lock and then they'll push even further backwards. And that's reverse thrust on an Airbus. And like when the throttle bottom's out here, there's a big area below it can go in as well, but that's technically a button, not part of the throttle. But then there's another button on the actual thing itself. It's great. There's a lot of buttons, but Microsoft Flight Simulator's default like bindings are frustrating. Which is super annoying. And I'm hoping it's fixed in the next one. Hope it's fixed the next one. Yeah, no, reverses don't work as an axis in this. Well, they didn't. They might now. They've added new controls. It's weird that they didn't have these by default. No, it's just a toggle. See, toggle means that you set the reverses to on, and then you push the throttles forward to, still make the engines 100%, but they're in reverse mode. That's what toggle means. But then hold just sets them to 100%. There's no access for reverse thrust. But it's confusing. And then there were some other weird ones, like, oh yeah, have they fixed that? No, they actually haven't. they've only got 4 throttle axes. Axes. There's only 4 throttle axes. However, to be clear, in the default game, you know, things only have 4 engines. But there are a lot of planes that you can get in this with more than 4 engines. Notably, the AN fucking 225, which has 6 engines. So you have to bind fucking the 2 outboard engines, like they're bound to one of the other throttle axes. I'm assuming they're merged. I'm assuming engine 1 and 2 are merged together, and engines 5 and 6 are merged together on it. Like, so it's engines 1 and 2 are on 1, then 2, then 3, then on 4 is 5 and 6. That sounds confusing even just to say it. But the 225 obviously has 6 engines, but then there is the Spruce Goose, which has 8 engines. There's that weird French plane. Who passed it? What? Le Carré, Le Côtier, that one. That one. Le Côtier. That's got 6 engines. Or it might have 8. I don't know. X-Plane has 9 engine axes you can set. Like, the control like Flight Simulator is frustrating because it's a really fun flying game, but it's not a very good simulator at the same time. Like, it simulates flying really well, but it simulates nothing else about flying very well. If that makes sense. It doesn't have full control schemes. I mean, like, something I've always loved about X-Plane, and why I still have X-Plane, and why I still play X-Plane, is in Flight Simulator, there are 2 states for your plane: broken or working completely fine. And like in the I'm just gonna, while I'm in the menu, I might have a slight tangent about this. By default, aircraft failure, crash damage, aircraft stress damage, and engine stress damage. Aircraft stress damage would be like if you were doing a steep dive and you aggressively pulled back enough that on an actual plane it'd break the fucking tail off, right? And then crash damage is obviously smashing into the ground. Engine stress damage is similar. It's if you max out an engine too much and you overheat or whatever, right? In this, though, aircraft stress damage and crash damage aren't granular, which means that if you overstress the aircraft, any of the default aircraft, like a pop-up just comes up going, you've overstressed the aircraft and crashed, and it just ends. Whereas X-Plane actually does simulate failures. Like if you pull up, like if you overstress the airframe in some way, and you damage a bit of the airframe, that bit of the airframe is then just damaged, and you have to deal with that being damaged. You know, if you somehow break a flap off, right, then that flap will be broken, and then you'll be leaking hydraulic fluid on X-Plane, and it simulates that happening. You know, if you fly into a flock of birds, it might smash your windscreen. It might, you know, you might get foreign object ingestion in your engines, and it, you know, climb out your engines. And by default on X-Plane, there's loads of failure options, right? Like you can simulate failures. You can set a failure. You can set most things on the aircraft to fail in some way, and you can set them to happen at specific toggles. So you can say, oh, when the aircraft reaches this height, this toggle, this event happens, or after this amount of time it happens. Or what I quite like is, it happens randomly in a time you set. So if you say, okay, it can't happen in the first 5 minutes, but from 5 minutes to 30 minutes into this flight, in that entire 25-minute range, it can happen at any time. And I always like that because I always love practicing like failures. You can practice the engines falling off in X-Plane. You know, like you can practice everything. And you can't do anything like that in this. Anything. And, like, Inverse Galaxy mentions it, add-on aircrafts, add-on aircraft can have failures. But it's not a default feature, which I don't like. That is something I find very missing from this. But, like, if you're flying normally without any failures, like, if you're flying simulator really, weird way to say it, if you're flying, like, properly, without any failures on, just doing a normal landing, it's great as a simulator. But I like both. And the next one is supposedly adding stuff. I don't know if it's adding, like, proper failures, but obviously it's adding game elements. And failures arguably are game elements. So, new one has plane maintenance, so I assume it brings failures. I hope so. That'd be really cool if it had proper failures. It's just missing. George Farron, if only X-Plane and MFS could have a baby with a graphics board from FS and the flight model and controls of X-Plane. Honestly, yeah. Like, I go in X-Plane and I go into the default A330 and it's just the loudest thing. And everything looks and feels right. And everything squeaks a bit. You know. The entire cabin's modelled. All the kettles are modelled in the cabin. You know, you go outside the aircraft and it's the loudest thing you've ever heard. And the planes look quite pretty in X-Plane, but everything else looks shite. Whereas in this, everything looks amazing. And I'd say the flight model, like the simulation quality in the flight models, quite good. It's good. Inverse Galaxy, I'm pretty sure add-ons that aren't allowed to have fire, visual effects, or anything like that. I think MS wanted to avoid people recreating disasters. It's a simulator, of course. Like, if you're actually training to be a pilot, simulation, like, practicing failures is incredibly important. Engine fires, practicing fire, like, it's so important. I mean, considering the new one has fire, fighting, I'm hoping it might have stuff like that in it. It's just annoying, isn't it? I mean, I wonder if it's going to be like a GTA style thing, you know, where in GTA 3 they were like, fuck, let's not have planes in this at all because 9/11 happened a week earlier. And then in Vice City, they were like, we could add some little seaplanes, and then San Andreas like, fuck, it is a jet. And then in 4 they went back to New York, let's not give people planes in New York. And that seems to just be the Rockstar's, let's not give people planes in New York in a crime game. That could go badly. But, like, I'm kind of like, whatever to that. Like, I don't want to crash a plane to the fucking Twin Towers. Like, I'm not playing it to do that. If someone's playing it to do that, I don't really care. I don't want to do it, but it doesn't really make a difference to me if someone else can. Sounds cool about, yeah, ever since it came to, like, 9/11 hijacks practice on MFSM, Microsoft and research about stuff. Yeah, but that's just it. Like, I can still fucking... That wasn't very good. I got a bit of gust at the end there. That. Oh wow. Oh, that wasn't bad. Wasn't good, but I'm going to do that again. You know, I can see them not wanting to avoid sensationless PR disasters or whatever, but like, I mean, I don't really care about crash FX, right? Like, when my plane crashes into something, I don't care if it goes up in a fireball. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, failures in flight. You know, dynamic damage. That's what I'm talking about. I don't give a fuck about, like, the plane exploding more realistically when it crashes. I don't really care about that at all. X-Plane does it. It's kind of funny the way X-Plane does it because it just kind of sets the plane on fire, but it doesn't actually crumple or anything. So just you got the plane flopping about with a bit of fire texture on it. Um, oh, Lonesome Troll. Oh yeah, this is great with an Xbox controller, and it runs on a Series X really well. Even with all of my add-ons, it runs really well on the Series X. Like I play this a lot on my TV on my Xbox Series S with a controller. Does it not have dynamic failures at all? This doesn't. Well, the default ones don't. No, default planes don't. I don't know if FSX had it because this was the first flight simulator, like Microsoft Flight Simulator, I played. I was always an X-Plane boy. I always liked X-Plane more. I mean, it ran on Mac, and I had a Mac. So I was always X-Plane. And this was the first Microsoft Flight Simulator I played. And it's because it's so stunning, obviously. Okay, I have a Series X Mac, I think so. Sure, I mean, it's obviously on Game Pass. I'd buy the new one if you were gonna spend 50 quid. If you were gonna buy it, I'd buy the new one. But Inverse Galaxy once found a Series S2 1080p and most keeps saying good. I know the Series S isn't amazing, but if you're running a 1080p, it should be fine. Like this doesn't run all that much better on my computer versus the Xbox, weirdly. Come on. QG, I'm super excited for the new one because I really prefer playing military planes over GA and commercial. I see, that's my thing. I don't really care for military planes. I mean, yeah. Low stall recovery. Look at me. Close to ground stall recovery maneuver. Ooh, look at me. Fly the aircraft, fly the aircraft, fly the aircraft. Come on. Fuck. Shit. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, to be mentioned, yeah, the big drawback of playing it on the Series S is the storage. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, that wouldn't help either. That wasn't great. No, but I am quite excited in the new one to fly like military cargo aircraft, like flying a G7 a C-17 Globemaster or one of those Airbus A400 kind of military transport. That sounds fun. I don't care about flying like fighter jets or anything. I just like flying planes. PG, I'm a bit annoyed they put the C-17 on the highest tier one. I also get why, but they got to persuade people to pay for the expensive one. Oh, you also see the cargo ones. Ah, sick. No, yeah, I mean, I bought the Aviator Edition. I will say, if you want to buy that, get it on fucking CD keys. The Aviator Edition to buy from Xbox directly is £200. Whereas on CD keys it was 110, which huge difference, obviously. I really like CD keys. CD keys always seems like a little suspicious app website, like selling cheap keys. But I've used it for like a decade. Their support's really good, and they don't sell indie games; they just sell AAA stuff. And I'm like, oh no, Microsoft will get slightly less of my money. Oh, poor them. I always, if I'm ever buying a AAA game, I'll always get it on there. Ooh. Oh dear. What's the point of that airport? Actually, if it's an airport in the middle of a small island chain, everywhere else that's inhabited by boats, you take a boat to the. Makes sense. All right. I don't care as long as technically. No, it is legal. The UK. I mean, you can buy EU codes on there, and UK codes. They're good. Their support's really good as well. That's because I haven't been following games at all, to be honest. But if I'm on flight sims or firefighting stuff, sounds really funny. You know, they got like um, Bosch ambulance and everything. Like they've Bosch ambulance. The right phrase? Am I supposed to do a 180? Probably. Nice view out of this one. Really good view. Nice window. Have I had a look at the fly-by-wire A380 that was released? Detail's incredible. No, but I don't like the A380. I mean, I like it. Like, I respect it. I'm like, yeah, it's big. But, like, I just... For something about the A380, I just like, yeah, whatever about. Oh, no. Get it a bit wider. Don't like the creaking noise. Have you flown the AN-225? Yeah, I mean... I don't think the flight model on it's very realistic. It handles like a much smaller plane, and it really should... You know what? It kind of feels like flying one of the, one of those 747s in GTA 5, it kind of feels like. As does the Spruce Goose. It's a little bit tighter, okay. Universe Galaxy, I'd rather fly a 737 than an A380. I have Airbus controls, why not as a Boeing? Honestly, from a flying perspective, from in a simulator, same, because Boeing aircraft are obviously famously manual. Which is fun for flying. Like I never found Airbuses that fun to fly in simulators, because they obviously don't let you do ridiculous maneuvers, which if you're flying properly doesn't matter, but I'm always messing around. But I do have Airbus controls, and I have bought an Airbus side stick, because when I'm flying in this game, I'm not doing weird shit. I am trying to fly properly in this, and I do like Airbus aircraft. I love the A330. The A330, the A340, and I love the A350 I adore. I just... The A320 and the A380 are ones I don't really care about, which is weird. In a simulator, I always prefer to fly a 737 or a... Oh, I love an older plane, like an MD-80. It was a bit of a hard landing. This picture more satisfying about how the flight computer works about Boeing. Yeah, no, yeah, completely fair. I want to aim to get a B in these at least. I'm going to try and get a B. You want a 757 already? Oh, 757. Oh, yeah, 757 would be really nice to fly in one of these. Because it's just a sports car as a 757. Jesus. Like, if the A380 is, I mean, for the non-flighty people, the A340, the A340-300 basically just has hair dryers for engines. And it's so comically underpowered that it barely gets off the runway. And then the 757 is just famously overpowered. Like, it's just... it's like... It's got way over... It's like a sports car. Well, the A340 is not really efficient either. The engines are on there for price reasons. Not... Like, most of the other A340s have better engines. But the A340-300 has the same engines as, I think, the A320s. The point being, like, if an airliner has both, they only have to maintain one engine type, but, like... and also, it might be easier to get those engines. They're a lot more common, but, like, again... probably the fact that the A330-300 isn't exactly a popular plane, so it's not really... yeah, I love an MD. The MD-8 is probably my favorite plane to fly in a simulator. Um, I'm not far from Heathrow. I get to see planes flying pretty low. Coming into what's my accent doing? Coming into land, so it's always great to see big ones flying super overhead. Looking for the 777X finally coming into. I mean, that'd be cool with its massive wingspan. Um, I always like seeing A380s land. I mean, they're basically always fucking they're always ooh, they're always Emirates. I saw one Old Upon one once, but there were every other one seems to be an Emirates one. Um, John, the stack comparison that always gets me is the diameter of the engine in the 777 is the same size as the diameter of the fuselage in the 737. Yeah, no, that's wild. That 777 is a big boy. I've never been on one. Have I? Wait. I don't think I've ever been on a 777. I've been on a 74. I've been on a 74, 73 loads. I've been on A320s, A319s. I've been on ATRs.
500.
I've been on a 75 a couple of times. I did a transatlantic flight in a 75, which was unpleasant because it's a fucking narrow body. Just crowded and cramped, but you're there for fucking 7 hours. This is smoother so far. I am a little fast though. Ooh. And massively off the center line. Oh dear. Yeah, that was not good. Come back, Ben Charles. Alex. Hamilton, I've only ever been on 737s. Movies make it seem like there's a lot more room on the plane than there was. Rising claustrophobic. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I think that's why a lot of people are scared of planes. I think obviously a lot of planes are very claustrophobic, and I imagine people feel a lot more comfortable on wide bodies. They're more comfortable. They deal with turbulence better. They're roomier. You know. Oh, I see belugas all the time. I see beluga XLs all the time because they fly over Liverpool and Birkenhead. So I see belugas constantly, which is really weird. Yes, Clem, you can. No, in West Galaxy, you can. John, I haven't been in big planes. I think A300 or A330s, A310s the biggest thing. Yeah, I mean, big planes are more for long distance. I mean, my friend's been on. I was annoyed. My friend's been on a bunch of 7.8s. I've always wanted to fly on a 7.8 because everyone goes on about them being quite nice. Like, I was a bit annoyed. Like, I went to Lanzarote earlier this year, for a very standard holiday. Just wanted somewhere quiet and warm. And I flew with Ryanair, so obviously we were going to be on 7.3s. It wasn't even a 737 Max, because that would have been different. But I was on another. My friend flew to like Gran Canaria earlier in the year, and he fucking got on a 7.8. Jammy cunt. Jammy cunt. Let's try this one. Oh, Real Engineering's great on YouTube. Channel that is. 7.8's the 7.8's a fascinating aircraft. Like I'm more interested in the A350, because the 7.8 gets all the praise, and I never really hear anything about the A350. But it is very good, also. I'd love to fly in another wide body. Like I said, the only one I've flown on's a 7.4. And I've been in like one other plane. I've not flown in it. I've been in a lot of Concords. I've been inside a lot of. You think a 737 is claustrophobic? Fucking go in a Concorde. Fucking hell. God, the wind's bad up here. Fucking Jesus. Only time I've been at A340 twice back from Virgin Islands, but never 7.4. Yeah, no, A340 is like my favourite. Well, on the A330. I love an A340. It just looks like. I know it's a really stupid sentence, but it just looks like a plane. You know, just like it's this long plane with the big wings and 4 engines. It just kind of looks like a. It just looks like a plane. It's a plain-looking plane, but I quite like that. Especially, God, there's one A340. I can't remember what the model number is, but it's like comically long. Like it's the exact thematic opposite of the 747. Was it SP? Which either stood for short performance or super. I can't remember. It's a really short version of it. Like imagine a hatchback version of a 747. Oh, the SP. Weird plane. It was designed for like domestic routes, but using wide bodies, like in Japan mainly, actually. But it's cute. But it's like really stout and short. Oh yeah, the Sophia telescope is an SP as well. Like stout and short, and like tall and fat. And then you've got the A340, like the A340 1000, I think. Which just is the longest thing I've ever seen with just some thin little wings in the middle. Well, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, the A340 just looks like. It looks like. If I were just to put a picture of a plane, I think that's like a generic plane look. I don't know, I like it. Special performance, yeah, I thought so. I can't actually see the runway out my window, but I can on the little display. So. Oh, yeah, thank you. The other ones didn't have landing gears, so I wasn't getting used to put them out. The A300 based refueler is the 340, but without refueling points. Oh, that's interesting. Or refueling points where 2 of the engines would be. Wasn't because the A330 and the A340 are basically identical, aren't they? Well, they're meant to be. They share most of their parts because they were developed in tandem. The A340 literally just being a 4-engined equivalent to the A330, both of the same age, both the same, a lot of the same components and stuff. There's the wrong way. Fucking hell. Well, yeah, I'm not on the runway, am I? John, I also think the A330 uses the same wings as the A340, which makes it want to stay in the air all the time. It's hard to land. Yeah, I mean, the A330 and the A340 are weird planes, because they are, like, siblings. I always quite like about them. You know, that wasn't good at all. Surprisingly not too unsmooth, considering how bad of a landing that was. Well, yeah, no, the 340 does exist because of the ETOPS guidelines. That's why Trijet also existed. Like literally, Trijets exist because of a regulatory reason. Less engines is cheaper to run and more efficient, but also meant you couldn't fly as far away from each airport. Like ETOPS means you have to be within a certain radius of a place you can land. And the more engines you have, the more redundancy you have, and the higher your ETOPS ranges. And like America especially wouldn't let twin jets fly over the Atlantic. So, so like, you know, Lockheed and Boeing and fucking what TriStar? Lockheed, Boeing, and Donald Douglas, or Douglas, all made trijets just for regulatory reasons, which I adore. It was a good idea for its time, and it was to get around an issue. And I mean, yeah, having back in the 80s, having a more redundant engine was good and made more sense. Now it's less relevant because our engines are a lot better and planes are a lot more reliable, and engines are a lot more reliable, and dual engines are great. I can understand why that rule was a thing, even if, you know, it was pointed out as being overcautious. But I understand why they were overcautious. But it made sense because, again, 70s and 80s, fucking the reliability of jet engines and planes is a lot less. Like, the idea of just losing an engine over water for, like, nothing happening is weird now. And also, I mean, it's more because, like, if you lose one engine in a twin jet, you can still fly on one engine. It's just, if you lose two engines in a twin jet, you're fucked. If you lose two engines in a quad jet, yeah, you can still fly. Pretty fine, actually. See the poppies. Wasn't that BA that lost all four engines to able to land? There are a lot of planes. Well, you can still land without all your engines. It's just you can still land without your engine. It's more that you can't fly as far. Like, obviously, you're gliding without engines. So you can still land. You just need to be within gliding range of an airport. Come on. Come on. Did not want to plant itself on the runway, Jesus. Invest Galaxy. Fun fact, a total engine failure in a helicopter has a higher survival rate than a total engine failure in a plane. That sounds about right. That does sound about right. Courage for 9 I wonder what they currently choose for Air Force One if they have to choose from currently manufactured planes. And if they'd request a custom 4-engine variant or something like a 777. I mean, that's why they went with the 7.4, isn't it? Because they wanted the redundancy of 4 engines. But Air Force One. It's Air Force One doesn't care about the engine efficiency. It doesn't even really care about range all that much. It's a mobile bunker in the sky, and they care about it just being able to fly. That's why they always have 2 of them as well. There's 2 of them. They're not called Air Force. I always forget the fucking actual technical name for them. But there's 2 of them. It flies in pairs. Like, one of them flies to one airport, and the other flies to a different airport nearish by. Yeah, who needs range when you have it through? Exactly. And they always carry 2, just in case. Which is wild, because Air Force One's already the most ridiculous, plane for a world leader that exists. Like, every other world leader uses... Usually just, like... I mean, the UK uses... There's planes owned by the Air Force that are refueling planes that, in most cases, are used for refueling, but can also be used as a VIP transport because multi-role. And then other countries will have big countries will often have little private jets or Embraers or something for their leaders and stuff. And they'll have one, and America's like, no, we got 2. It's the biggest one. It's like, come on, man. Doesn't the British monarch have a special boat? What the Crown does isn't the government. I mean, the government approves stuff. I don't really pay attention to what the fucking Crown's doing because they're a cunt. Um, yeah, you've seen the Royal train a few times. I'm so sorry. Um, oh, yeah, they are Boeing are currently converting to old 747s. Um, billions over budget. Sure is, baby. Classic America, innit? They try and do something really simple. Somehow it takes forever and costs all the money. Admittedly, that's basically HS2 over here as well. But the American military is the king of that shit. There was always a joke I liked about if you tell it if you tell the military, right? If you tell like an American military to like go out and it's pissing down, and they tell you to go out and water the plants. You're like, but it's raining, and they go, oh cool, and then they give you a really over-engineered umbrella. Like that's the American Air Force. That's the American military. Go out, water the plants. No, it's raining. Okay, here's a really expensive umbrella. I think it just encapsulates the American military perfectly. Ah, hilarious. Um, oh. Last question. The refueling planes running out of fuel mid-nuclear apocalypse give Earth plus one airborne is something I thought about a bunch. I mean, that's why they looked into nuclear-powered planes, because they can stay in the air for weeks. James Wolf Gaming. Everyone thinks military quality means over-engineered and tough as hell. It doesn't. It means built by the lowest bidder. I mean, they usually are tough. Well, they are usually very expensive. They're usually just more overpriced variants of things. US Air Force can spend 600 million on a single stealth bomber. Yeah, to win wars. They can't win wars. I've never seen them win a war. They spend all that money to lose wars they're not in. Wait. Haven't I done this one? The Cork one? I don't know the other one. Like, because the US Air Force keep putting money into fucking stealth bombers to, like, fight China, basically. Or Russia in a large-scale war, which is kind of a stupid thing to do. Because if a large-scale war broke out between China, Russia, and the US, everyone's fucked regardless. Pretty sure rat counts as a victory. I mean, like, the US keep having this problem, whereby they're putting all this money into military aircraft, like stealth aircraft and these really advanced aircraft, when they're basically only ever fighting insurgent groups. You know, like, they'll go to Iraq and Afghanistan, like Vietnam, and are just mainly fighting small guerrilla groups that are on the ground. They're not usually fighting like big military things. And like, I mean, the last time they were, I think the last time that was done at like a proper scale, by the US would have been Desert Storm, back during the Gulf War. Because that was when they were fighting Saddam Hussein, after he invaded Kuwait. They were taking up military targets, and that was where they first used the F-111 as well, like the first stealth bomber fire. But like, even then they didn't do that well. Like they did it, but and like what? They just like spending money for the sake of spending money. Obviously, it's America. The military industrial complex exists to make people richer. That's what it's for. Um, projecting authority is another consideration, but it's mainly to make money. Yeah, the US usually just fight farmers who are trying to defend their land from invasion and they lose. Literally, yes. Every time. Every time they lose. Like, eh. Right. Last Christ, wasn't there a US war game scenario where the people in charge refused to accept the adversary being on a similar level and just forcibly arguing so they'd win? I don't know. That sounds... Where's the runway? I don't know. Well, I know, like, the US as well, in a lot of war games, like, like a really cheap fucking, like, Swedish submarine. Was it Swedish submarine? Was that Finnish submarine? Was able to just sneak up right next to, like, an American aircraft carrier. And they were like, whoa! It's like, come on, what's all the money for? Swedish sub, yeah. It's a cheap-ass Swedish sub. A little one. And it just was able to sneak up. And it could have, fired an actual torpedo. Like in the war game scenario, they could have destroyed the fucking carrier. Hamilton, that's why I don't like people shitting on the Russian military. NATO members of the military are also completely disorganized right now. Yeah, but Russia's military is not as big of a threat as often made out. I mean, for Christ's sake, they can't manage to win a war against just their neighbor that's not very well armed. The NATO aren't going to, like... I'm not saying NATO are going to decisively win against the... What the fuck's my yoke doing? I'm turning my yoke to the right, and it is turning the plane to the right, but the yoke on the screen is going left for some reason. Yeah, like, Russia's military is they project a lot of strength. But obviously they've not been able to even, like, slightly... Everyone was expecting... Oh! Yeah, everyone was expecting Ukraine to be, like, a clean sweep for Russia. And the fact they've just been going years, and they've had to, like, draw in fucking North Korea, like, has kind of ruined the illusion of Russia being, like, a huge military threat, like, in that context. I mean, they still are a nuclear threat, obviously, but I think it's really changed that relationship. I mean, yeah, if Ukraine didn't receive help, the war would have been lost longer, but the point still stands. They're getting help, but it's just the Ukraine military on the ground fighting back. That could have gone better. Didn't see the runway until a bit late, though. But equally, again, it kind of... Ukraine have gotten help, yeah. Obviously a lot of aid from the West, but they are still fighting independently with foreign equipment. And they're being invaded by Russia at their borders. A much superiorly armed, much higher, men count. The American military, it just exists to spend money. That's what it's for. Like, it has all these other things as well. Like, it's a propaganda tool, and it's a way to force other countries. Because the American military, as well, isn't just a way to force... it isn't necessary to fight Russia, it's to project power and make other nations beholden to the United States. That's a big part of it, too. But the military-industrial complex is paying primarily for money. Quite everything they spend money on is overpriced. Superiority. It's why I don't like war stuff at all. I don't like playing war video games. Um, I I don't like. That's why I don't like military like planes and stuff like that. I don't like the whole thing. The plane's designed for horrible capitalistic reasons to kill people. Shit, like that's the core of it. Even if I think a plane is cool, still has that undercurrent of, you know. Um, yeah, look, I'm interested in military vehicles from an engineering standpoint. Um, and I like academically knowing about them in that context. And I think some of them are cool looking. I mean, like, you know, but at the same time, um, I feel I'm purposely very detached from them just because I don't like the core of what they are or stand for. Um, like, it's just frustrating, and I don't really like any of it. Obviously, I don't even like following war stuff. I mean, I was getting really frustrated when the Ukraine war started, and okay, like war in that context and death in that context, right, is a necessary evil. I mean, that's the justification for it, right? It's a necessary evil. And even if you disagree with that, which I often do, death is not good. It's a bad thing. Killing people is a bad thing. Um, and it shouldn't be glorified. It shouldn't be celebrated. Like, it's sad to kill people, even if you're doing it out of defense. And I was seeing on Twitter, like, a lot of people in my circles and stuff like that, like, you know, donating to that bullet, being like, oh, if you give this money, you can buy this many bullets. And I'm like, ugh, gross. Don't celebrate that. Don't celebrate that.
500.
When I get that it needs doing, but we don't celebrate it. Don't glorify it. It's sad. Killing people is sad. And like all these fucking things, like, oh, look at how many Russians have been killed. And everyone's like, yay! 10,000 dead Russians. And I'm like, no, not yay. Sad. Even if necessary. I'm glad Ukraine are fighting back, and I'm glad they're able to hold their own a bit, but sad. Bad. It's sad. War is sad. Even if the person you're fighting is the aggressor. Because those people have been fucking exploited too. A lot of young Russian boys being conscripted and lied to by every single thing in their country. And then going into a foreign nation and dying because of lack of military planning or competency is not to celebrate. Ooh. It was a bit bumpy, but I think that was a bit of landing. Being able to see Matt turn away to cough. I mean, yeah, I am. Which is quite funny. Like you could pay to have your name written on a drawing again. Yeah, that's disgusting. I think that's absolutely disgusting. Like, it's disgusting to celebrate the deaths of people, regardless. Like, I take a pretty hard stance on that. Like, that's not to say it isn't necessary. That's what I'm saying, but it's sad. Oh no, all these people have died unnecessarily because of the decisions of other people. That's sad. It's not. It's not. You know, it's not like, oh, punishing or anything to the people who did it. Like it's necessary, but it's sad. People being killed is a sad thing. Quite small mom. For some reason I got a Sun YouTube clip of this drone is dropping nades on Russians, and it's just oh horrible. Especially comment. Yeah, gross, disgusting. Um, Mr. Gregory, I think the US glorify war so much as their country was born from war, and because they've defiled their origins as fighters against tyranny. Ugh. It's also all American media glorifies war. I mean, there's so much propaganda in the States for that. Um, There's so much glorification of military personnel in the States, more than anywhere else. Um, and also, America have the advantage of everything being off away from them as well. Everything's over there, you know? That's why 9/11 was such a big deal, though, because the first time Americans had like a home soil attack. And obviously, I haven't dealt with war directly. I live in a city that's devastated by the scars of it. I mean, Liverpool is still struggling from the effects of World War II today. I walk around where I live, and there's just like big empty areas where buildings were bombed and never redeveloped. There's bits you can walk past and you can see like literally just bits of wall that were on a building in the 40s that are still there,
500.
and like someone just put some gravel down and like it's a car park now because they didn't redevelop it. And any areas they did redevelop, they usually just, spent barely no money putting up these little 60s horrible things. And you see that happen. I mean, so that is a consequence of war. I mean, I'm not directly in a war, which is a different thing fucking entirely, but still. America hasn't even had that. Like, America has Pearl Harbor and 9/11, and that's it. But like things that have directly affected America directly in as a country. Locally, geographically, It's the same in a lot of places in Europe. And I think Europe's a lot more. Ooh. Ooh, that was alright, that. I landed a bit before the touchdown, so. But, that was a hard land, but it's all right. Yeah, like no, everywhere you see is like that. I mean, the reason I always find a city like Newcastle interesting, because obviously it's another sort of northern city, but like when you walk around Liverpool, um, and Manchester, but especially Liverpool, Liverpool was really, really, really heavily bombed during World War II, and you can tell still. Um, half the city was destroyed. Whereas you go somewhere like Newcastle, and they've still got most of their old buildings. Same with their Edinburgh, and you can tell a lot more generational wealth is in those places because of that. Um, you find less generational wealth in places like Liverpool because it was so heavily bombed during World War II, and that just has a knock-on effect later on. Um, ooh, the States. Yeah, Birmingham was bombed to shit as well. Um, it depends on the place. I mean, you can always tell. I find if you see like new buildings, kind of intermixed in older buildings, like that from bombs. Um, but some places just haven't even. I say Liverpool's. You've still got loads of them, even now, right in the center of town. You've still got just lots that were clearly bombed, um, which is wild. Um, it's great. I mean, the US has been invaded in the past. The British War of 1812, yeah. Japanese invaded some Alaskan islands, but not really. Yeah, like not the mainland US in living memory. Like it's all like Civil War. It's the Civil War and fucking the Civil War, 9/11, and Pearl Harbor. Oh, that's pretty. Oh fuck, where am I going? Oh, are we there? Oh, the frame rate's doing well here, isn't it? The frame rate shits itself the more complicated the aircraft is. So, um, oh, oh, oh dear. Right. No, like it's well, American. Like Americans just have a different view of the world. They're very geographically isolated from the rest of the world. They are culturally isolated from the rest of the world. In terms of like things, like they're isolated from a lot of threats in that context. 9/11 and Pearl Harbor are these big things, obviously. And they're big things anywhere, to be clear, but they're one of the few little things the US has dealt with. It's why they have a different relationship with it. And US military is always going off somewhere else, fighting a war to protect America. No one from home has to deal with it. It's the point. And so much propaganda and McCarthyism and educationally isolated. It's very propaganda focused. You don't really learn much about the rest of the world. It all contributes to it. For obvious reasons. I'm a bit high. In the game. I'm weirdly not high. My tolerance to it's my tolerance to it's really annoyingly high now. I have to take breaks occasionally. Sorry. No, guys. Something I found really dangerous with the UK's perception of war is that it's looked at as some glorious patriotic era. Sure, sure, there was commendable bravery to live through that era, but it's quite literally the most destructive time humanity's ever inflicted on itself, comparing how we should be a society to that horrible pace of change. No, so that I've always found really interesting. And the reason the British do it is the same reason the Americans do it for Pearl Harbor and 9/11. It's one of the few instances of the UK mainland being attacked in living memory. It's the only existence, and it's basically the only conflict. The only conflict that you could argue the British were the good guys in. Every other conflict you kind of look at and you go, why are you doing this again? Oh, and it's quite easy when you look at World War II to go, we were the good guys. We weren't the Nazis. It's like, well, yeah, it's a very low bar though, isn't it? Well, at least we're not as bad as the Nazis. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh. And yeah, and it is such a big deal for culture to kind of adapt to. Oh, yes! I got an A! Butter. Wonderful. Look at me go. Yeah, the social history of the world wars is very interesting. And how it's kind of attached to people's psyches. Like every other war, you look at the British, and every time you're like, you did. Why'd you do this? Land. Okay. What about this one? Oh. You killed all the natives, did you? Oh. Like every single one. World War One, it made them look a little bit better, but World War One famously looked bad on everyone. And World War Two, looked kind of great for the British because they were able to do this whole like we are they're holding out against the Axis powers alone on the little island with the rest of Europe falling, and we're the only ones fighting against these bloody Nazis. Of course they latched onto it because it is such a nice image for them. When historically, every other time it looked terrible. Like, hey, John Franklin, I hate my country, man. I really hate it. The UK is just shit, and the history is shit, and it's been shit since. I don't think it's shit. I think the UK is really interesting as a country. It's steeped in so much history, old and new, and it's always played a pivotal role in the world. But it's interesting as well, walking around something that I like living here, even though I'm annoyed at a lot of it. I like living in Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool is especially interesting because you walk around and you go through places where a lot of firsts. where, like, whenever I get the fucking train, I take the same fucking route of the first passenger train. Like the 1800s, like fucking Stephenson's rocket. Um, you you just walk around so many things that were once big, and you can tell, like, Liverpool. Liverpool at one point was the second capital of the British Empire. Um, and it was rich to show that, and it had all these huge, very grand buildings, um, like the Liver Building and a lot of stuff. And then World War Two happened, and um, fucked and bombed half the city. So you have this weird mix of a really dark history, um, a lot of very grand architecture, grand old architecture, but also with a dark history. I mean, Christ, there's a building I walk past a lot, and on this, it's got like stonework on either side of one of the doors, and it's a god of the sea, like a Poseidon character, um, with two African slave children next to them, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Um, but Liverpool's currently very reverent about that fact. I mean, we have a slavery museum, um, which is as horrible as it sounds, um, and it is very progressive. Now, Liverpool's very, very progressive, incredibly progressive. Um, something I quite like, um, is that my MP is a black woman, and for Liverpool to become very progressive and have, like, we had a black mayor as well. We had a black woman mayor. And progressive, that's a huge thing. I think that's for the story of Liverpool. I think that's such a nice thing, for a slave city. Um, and Liverpool has really good museums, has some really beautiful architecture that was built during the height of its sort of money power, but then it got so economically fucked that you have all these areas that are still just bomb sites, and you have all this mismanagement and poverty. I always find it interesting, when I've been to places like Newcastle and London and Edinburgh, which have some really rich people in them. And you can tell that you have a lot of these posh buildings, you have a lot of really fancy shops, and really expensive food halls, and like all this grand architecture, very expensive. And in Liverpool, you don't really get that. I mean, there's still rich people in Liverpool, obviously, but you don't have these kind of cultural upper class in Liverpool, really, like you do elsewhere. It's a lot. The wealth gap in Liverpool, I find, in a cultural hereditary sense, is a lot closer together than it is in a lot of other cities. And that's kind of because World War Two fucked everything here, and everyone just got made poor. It's got a lot of music history, obviously. I mean, I find the Beatles exhausting. I think everyone in Liverpool finds them a bit exhausting after, because you can't escape them. But there's so much interesting history, and I think it's so architecturally just varied because of that kind of stop-start nature of its development. That you just have architecture of every different style. You have some incredibly old grand buildings next to some incredibly new cheap buildings, or even incredibly new grand buildings. Different monuments everywhere. You've got just a lot of incredibly old stuff. Incredibly good history, incredibly left-leaning place. Incredibly progressive generally as a city. That's great. Of course, as with anywhere, there are people it's passing, but have very little like national identity anymore. I mean, that's a valid thing. Um, the UK as a country, in its history or current policy, doesn't embody with what I value, and I just don't. I don't feel like I belong to a nation. I find a lot of the end of states and goals of nations just to encourage and blow songs freeing the people of the country, and the country starts making the people. So, I don't like national identity broadly. I mean, the idea of like the UK not having a good national identity, to me, I don't really see as a bad thing. I don't really think anywhere should have a strong national identity. Where the fuck's this? I'm landing on a field in a thunderstorm. Where? God damn it. I think that's my thing. I don't really like national identity. Um, yeah, the UK does have more regional identity, but I generally just I don't really like national identity. National identity as a kind of thing is more used for abuse, I find. But I understand it. Um, it's a road. Like I understand it. You know, I attach to my Irish heritage. Um, there. But that's more in the sense of I think it's important to understand history. Um, uh, where the fuck am I landing? Well, yeah, exactly, George K. I've latched on to my Irish national identity and thrown off my British national identity exactly for that reason. So I do understand it. Like I understand the idea to not want to identify with being British as a thing because it's hard to be proud of that, or it's basically impossible to be proud of that. And I understand why people who only have that and want that latch so hard onto World War Two. Um, those cars aren't on the road; they're next to the road. Um, and also, it's much easier when you're part of something like the EU. I live in a place where the national identity of my country influences my life greatly. I mean, I'm always mixed with national identities as a thing, just because, as I say, I generally don't like a lot of what they're used for, because they're often used for nationalism, um, and often that comes in the form of giving everyone else the finger, you know, and I'm one of those dirty global multiculturalists. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. I'm going to restart and hopefully see the little thing come up. Oh, it's over there. I see. Oh yeah, I forgot I have the little button that'll point me where it is. I keep forgetting that. Judge Kate, I'm German, I stay the fuck away from national identity. Valid, right? Um, and national identity, obviously, is twofold, because I tend to dislike national identity as a thing, because it's often used for I say nationalism and often xenophobia. But equally, cultural identity is a big part of that. National identity and cultural identity are often, obviously, overlapped. Um, and that cultural identity is very important. And I think keeping alive the kind of long existing cultures is important. Um, where the fuck am I landing? Like it's over there somewhere, but I still don't know where. There's just a bit of grass. Mr. Gregory, being half Irish, half English, I see my identity as British realistically. I mean, that's fair as well. I'm Irish. I was born in Ireland. My childhood was in Ireland. Um, one of my parents is British. Um, and we moved over here later in life. Well, I don't have the accent. Um, but ooh, Well, it was interesting when I was doing ancestry. I was doing sort of genealogy stuff. So I found most of my British identity isn't even British. Um, on my British side, it within a couple of generations it goes back to Scotland and then immediately back to Ireland. Um, what? Where am I landing? There. Jesus. That one is fucking hard. Oh, it's on a hill. God, it's on a hill? Hey, Joe Franklin, if you were to have kids, would you get them sweet Irish EU passport ATP? I mean, I'm not having kids, but obviously. Michael the NBA bye guy. I'm American and my queerness and Jewishness come first for me. Well, I've noticed that in the US. Obviously, the US I find weird as a nation because it's a country of immigrants and it's a country of lots of different cultures and backgrounds and religions and nationalities and ethnicities. And a lot of people celebrate that, and that's a big celebration for a lot of people in the US. But at the same time, this idea of the American sort of as a thing is obviously conflated with this Trump nationalism bullshit, and even fucking Democrat. America's weird. As a panda, I found that most people who identify as British or English, Scots rarely seem to call themselves Brits. Well, so I mean, this is the classic thing in Northern Ireland, isn't it? Unionists tend to say they're British. Whereas Republicans tend to say they're Irish in Northern Ireland. A lot of people just say they're from Northern Ireland. The phrase British is usually conflated with English. Because if you're Scottish, you'll say Scottish. If you're Welsh, you'll probably say Welsh. If you're, you know. Fuck me. Can't see shit. There it is. Not on that nice, clean, straight bit of fucking grass. No, it's on this fucking tiny path next to a fucking house. Ooh. No, no. Damn it. Just a great. I also like to throw out the fact that there was something like 15 to 20,000 black people living in Georgia and London. There's a good chance a lot of super racist National Front type folks have black ancestry. Yeah. I found that in my DNA. I found there was like a tiny bit of hello? Like 0.2%. I'm like slightly worried by that because I'm like, that's either I don't know, it's often a bit sus, you know, it's often a bit like, oh god, was that a voluntary type deal, you know? Let's try that again. Like, my paternal grandfather left Germany at 9 years old in 1939. I mean, that's a big thing as well, obviously. So I'm trying to get my German citizenship like mom or something. That's, yeah, valid. Worth doing. Oh, the weather moves in over it, so I can see it now. But that band of cloud and rain's about to just come over the airport as I'm landing. Can a lightning bolt hit your plane and make you go berserk? I mean, that wouldn't happen if a lightning bolt hits a plane. I mean, they can hit your plane, but they're not going to do anything. Lightning's not a real danger in planes. It just passes through. I can't even see. There it is. Problem is, this is a cub as well, which means it's not a tricycle landing gear, which means I have to kind of I can't let the plane brake too hard, because then I'll just like dip forward. I have to like pull up awkwardly when I'm down on the ground. Yeah, TVs and movies like to. That's the problem why a lot of people are scared of planes, because they're misled by TVs and movies. Like, oh, turbulence and lightning is really dangerous. It's not at all. Break. Fuck off! It's a fucking grass field with no markings. Fuck yourself. You assume the fuselage was like a Faraday cage? It does. It does. Especially, the bigger the plane as well. Planes not generally really that conductive to lightning, though. Lightning's trying to reach ground. And they will take the path of least resistance to the ground. And that's not usually through a plane, you know? Let's try some epic ones. I want to try a good one. Oh, a shish one. This is the one with the roundabout. Oh, yeah, Michael MB, bye guy. Oh, thank you. Hey, I mean, it's not like Nike's paying me anymore. That's great. A bit like Top Gear years ago when Hammond's after-car electricity and testing facility was fine afterwards. Yeah, probably won't be. It's over there. Cool. Over there. This airport's quite cool. You land over the ridge of a hill really low over like a roundabout, and then you have to descend really quickly down. Difficult airport to land at. Do I own any music looping gear? No, actually. I don't really actually own any music. I don't really have any pedals or anything. I always use digital effects. Cost less money, and they basically did the same thing for what I was looking for. I've always wanted to mess with it, though. I'm going to try and be messing with music more. I've got a bit more time on my hands lately. I was going to try streaming full time for the next month, and I still basically am. But I'm probably not going to do it every day, so actually I get to know other things as well. Oh, God. Oh, I'm way too fast. There it is. Oh, whoa. Shit, I throttled up instead of throttling down accidentally. I landed a bit long and used basically the full runway length, which I shouldn't have done, but I did land. Hmm. Any idea what you want to do with streams? I recall it like games, you don't love them. I like doing streams. I realised something lately. Oh, I'll land it. It's fine. I thought thinking lately about how especially since when I started editing Nerdcube videos, um, any energy I had, like creatively, um, went into Nerdcubed. That was where all my kind of creative energy went, and I got really burnt out, and then I lost all my creative energy. Um, so I barely have any. Barely had any for ages, and even then, if I have had any, it's been Nerdcube. And streaming for me is not really creating. Streaming's more performing, which I like. I like chatting. Um, I like talking about politics in a more sort of long form way, and I like live streams in that sense, especially because you can kind of get checked immediately. That's why I don't really like podcasts, because podcasts I could just say something wrong and um, you know, go on a completely wrong tangent. And have people bring a point. I like the interactivity of streams. I think they're fun. And a reasonable amount of people seem to like these. Um, I want to do more structured streams like the backlog slog, as someone's mentioned there. The only reason that stopped is because I stopped having a kind of schedule because I was tired and burnt out. But I really want to do that. Backlog slog was a lot of work, both to stream and set up. Um, but I did like doing them, and I would like to do them again, and I do intend to do them again this month. Um, I am going to have a schedule. Um, this week I'm trying to do a schedule just for me without telling people what it is because it's non-committal, and I want to see if that works. And then I'll do it properly next week. You could become political. No, I'd rather have a nice time and then like sneak politics in. You know, not sneak it in, but like I'm not gonna be one of those fucking Twitch streamers who just sat looking at newspapers. You know, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe I will. Who knows? Never say never. Don't forget the new politics. There's a politics tag. Oh, of course there is. Oh wait, no, there's a content tag. Yeah, I have that ticked already. It is bringing a mind-boggling amount of money though. How? In what way? Um, no, but and I also kind of want to start doing videos again because I stopped doing them in favor of this, but it's because I only had limited free time, and also to a certain degree, one of the things with videos and this is both creative energy, but also I was doing YouTube as a job, and outside of my job, I didn't want to keep doing the same thing. Like it's my free time. I don't want to be doing that. Um, you don't know how people love it. Yeah, but when I say how, I mean like via donations, via Patreon, via sponsorships, via ad revenue. Like that's relevant. Um, ooh, Alpine. Um, quite a few people lost 8% ad revenue. Wait, because of the politics tag? Why? Wait, does having a tag at all lose ad revenue? I've always had a tag. Ever since they introduced tags, I've always had the swearing tag on because obviously, cunty cunt cunts, you know. Um, if it's very hard to make a lot of money doing the internet thing unless you're doing something exploitative. I mean, you can do it; it's possible. Woo! Look at this place. Um, it's just harder. And also, you need to be bigger. Like, it's harder to do it, and even then, you have to be bigger. At the airport. It's coming down! There we go. Fucking hell. Jesus. Uh-oh. Why is the throttle shaking? Hello? Stop that. Making it very hard to fly! Oh, that's better, okay. Okay, now. You know, it's weird. I spent ages waiting for these rudder pedals and I keep forgetting to use them. I'm not used to doing stuff with my feet in playing games, you know. I used to just use my hands. Fucking me. Alright. This is a weird, like, gear stick type fucking throttle, and I don't really know what it's doing. Gentle. Gentle. That's the threshold. I don't know why it's such a long threshold. I don't know why they've shortened the runway length. That is an insanely long threshold. That's really odd. Why would they shorten the runway that much? Cheaper to maintain? Oh! 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 Oh, that was fucking silky, that was. Oh, I just feel like I rubbed silk on my titties, you know? Like... Oh! Not an A, but like... Because I kind of went up at the centre line a bit. But, oh, look how precise it was. Oh, that's the most precise I've ever been. And it was smooth. Oh! I was a break. I'd love to play if you found. I have flown a plane in real life. Quite enjoyed it. I wanted to be a pilot. What's the thing I want? The only reason that didn't happen is because it's expensive. Which airport was that? That one. Ambry. God, that one. I'm not gonna. But the thing is, I'm not gonna find where it wants me to land. It wants me to land a small bit of. No, fuck it. Let's try it. Also, want to fly? I can't remember. It was a little Cessna. I did some pilot lessons, some practical actual flying lessons. Um. Become Lemmy, I guess. Yeah, Lemmy. Lemmy doesn't need to panda. I like YouTube. You like there's YouTubers that don't need to do ad reads and don't really need to panda. Um, you see a lot of them who do really infrequent. Like H-Bomb is a prime example of that. Right, where am I going? I should look at that loading screen. When it's loading, I always default like look to the left to read the chat a bit. I didn't realize. Oh wait, that's telling me where to go. And the problem is, there's not like obvious runway lights I can just look at. Wait. That it? Is that just a house? Looks like a blue dot. I'll be slapped by Brett. I build fighter jets for a living, and the airport were based at host flying lessons every day with little Cessnas. Oh, that's fun. Ah, Sip. Yeah, Sip's an example of a successful streamer who just does a thing. I've streamed with Sips. It's nice. That's weird, isn't it? One of my most bizarre memories is me, Sips, and Tomska stood outside of a Holiday Inn in Telford, passing a bottle of someone's homemade raspberry vodka between us and drinking it, which that's like the sketchiest fucking thing. Like, as general rule, you don't take things that people have given you. Where the fuck am I going? I need to restart that because I have no idea where I'm going. Wild. Good. Good time. Oh, it's over there. Yeah, it'd be really easy to tell if we got sick. Is it down there? Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about the Amy thing still. Oh yeah, the cupcake incident. Yeah, the cupcake incident. I'm pretty sure that cupcake incident happened before this thing I'm talking about now, though, so makes it slightly more funny. That's different context, though. Coxon's always a different vibe. And also, notably, the person who brought it said that I was their favourite, so they wanted me to try it first, which kind of sounds like a threat. Where the fuck? They said I could try it first and have as much as I wanted. I mean, I had it first, and then Tom, and then Sips, and then me again, and Tom and Sips, and then me again, and Tom and Sips. Like mystery white spirit and the spit of YouTubers. What more could you ask for at a YouTube? You know, I didn't even get sick after that. Oh, fuck, there it is. Smooth as Butter. Yeah, no. Why would you do that? Why would I have the vodka? Oh, you mean the pubes, the baked cupcakes pubes, yeah. That's why there's a rule at events now that you should really only take stuff that's like, packaged. Even then, some people like Dan and Rebecca wouldn't have anything that was even packaged, which was great for me because I just took all the snacks myself. I just filled my bag. I was like, yeah, mine now. Woo. Oh, is that it there? Oh, I cursed it. That is a sensible rule. I know it is. As a broad rule, that's fair. I take a slightly more situational approach. Also, I'm a little less risk averse. It is that bit. You can see the flat lever move. Now, this does have a tricycle landing gear. It means I can land it like a normal plane. Have I considered doing series videos on YouTube? But like, John, I don't know. I tried once. I had the start of a Skyrim series at one point. But like, ooh, that wasn't bad. That was hard, but like, the format's a bit dead, and honestly, unless it was a more specific kind of video style, like Let's Game It Out, where that only really works in an edited format. Stuff like that, that's long form. I might as well almost just do it as a stream. I mean, like, the most successful thing I've ever streamed, right? Both in terms of me enjoying doing it and people watching and new people appearing as well. Like, it was just universally great and it lasted for ages, was Fallout 4. Because that's the kind of one as well, where frankly, part of the problem with big long series is John's an example. I mean, there's examples on Nerky as well. Is obviously there's fall off after every episode, and if you if they're going out once a week and you find it and it's already been like fucking 15, 20, 30, 40 episodes, you're not gonna. Most people aren't gonna start that from scratch, Whereas streams are nice because streams are a bit more like they're more accessible for just jumping in. I don't know how I feel about stream highlights. Um, I like streams. I loved doing Fallout as a stream. That was my favorite thing, and everyone else liked that as well, which is great. Um, you were able to add a lot of personality to it, and I think interacting with people directly is really fun. Whereas on a video format, I feel it needs to be something that really benefits from being a video, so it needs to be structured. A channels like Let's Game It Out that are setting up hundreds of hours of things and doing all these big setups and getting shots and doing a full commentary over it. It's really structured. It can only work in video form. The kind of video essay thing can only really work in video form. I don't know exactly what, but I kind of probably want to try videos again. I only realized the other day why I'd stopped doing them at all, and I went, "Oh, I'd completely discounted them as I hadn't even thought of them." just because my brain kind of tuned them out for so long. But if I were to do, well, if I were to do YouTube videos, they'd probably be more, they'd probably be more in the vein of like Ashen's Dank Pod, Big Clive, you know, that kind of more tech focused thing. I don't think I'd really, I don't know, and stream highlights, little clips. I love doing little stream clips. So I always occasionally show like Limmy ones and Sips ones. I was like, I really like just the thing of just having a little out of context joke as a short little video. I really like that. Stream highlights as a big format. Henderson stream highlights basically free content. There's no reason not to do it. Well, there is. I mean, if you have to edit it, that's effort, and I don't really see the point. At least for me. That's effort I'd rather put into something else. You started videos from YouTube a couple of years ago, playing more YouTube games from Steam and a vague review film over a quick report, most games shit. Yeah, it's hard on YouTube as well. I'm gonna switch back to the chat mode because I think I'm done with the game for now. I'm gonna finish up soon. YouTube's hard without that back and forth. Twitch is easy. One of the reasons I quite enjoy streaming is because it flows easy. I'd say it's tiring. It's a lot more tiring than I ever expect. But from a talking perspective, it's really nice because you can kind of just go off on tangents. And there's the interactability there, so there's like, I don't know, it's a nice flow, chat-wise. Whereas videos are a bit more structured. And in both ways, they can be crutches. And both ways they can be not. Depends on the kind of person you are and the kind of stuff you want to make. But you said your thing of starting again, but I don't think any of the games I want to stream would be popular these days. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Okay, if anything, that might be better. Don't do popular, do niche. Have I thought about doing IRL streams? No. If I was ever going to do anything like that, it'd be videos. The idea of just being like, I'm in this location right now. I don't want to do that ever. And I don't know. I don't get most Dank Podcast videos. I love some of them in his card content, but I just don't get the ones that I like. Here's an MP3 player by 2 million views. I mean, I like them, but I like weird tech like that. And other niches make money though. Some of the biggest channels and some of the things that are making the most money are people doing really niche stuff. The only reason Nerdcube's went on this long is because he's been doing a bit more niche stuff. Popular games might get numbers, but they don't necessarily get money. And often, if you're just doing popular stuff, everyone's doing popular stuff, you don't stand out. I always say, just be as you as possible. Be aggressively you. You know? Do the niche things you like. Do the niche jokes you like. Format it in the way you really want to. Make it for you and purely for you. And then adjust it from there. Because, yeah, there are some things that, you know, can be adjusted for the sake of people watching, but for the most part, just be you and aggressively so. Just do exactly what you want to do, and don't pander, because I mean that's what people should be doing anyway. I think, but. That's what people want. Because there's already 7 billion people doing the same thing. Do what you want to do. because people who like that will find it eventually. Dan was just being Dan hasn't really worked out though. When he was popular, it was when he made generic jokes of video games. It has worked out. It's been a career of 13 years. I mean, the Patreon make 10 grand a month. You know, like, might not be enough to keep paying me, but like, it's worked out pretty well. Still going. I mean, Martin, I always have this with Martin, obviously, in Littlewood, went really into the TikTok, like, Fortnite update thing. And there was this whole joke about, like, pandering, and he's like, well, fuck you and make loads of money, which, yeah. But also, my benchmark for success is, can I live reasonably comfortably on it? Yes, cool. Like, Nerdcube, reasonably comfortable. I don't want to be rich. I don't need to be. And arguably, the channels that have most came out and I kind of become big things and become quite successful are ones that are doing weird stuff. I mean, like Technology Connections that just... He made a video on the colour brown and it's got millions of views. Just... The thumbnail is just the word brown on a brown background. You know, people like Dan Pods and Stuart, and just doing these niche little things is important. It's important. Yeah, take my, like, it's... because that's not to say in topics you can't do things. You shouldn't do anything to appeal to anyone. It's just... I always think you should start with the niche. Start with the thing you're really interested in, you really like. I think that's more important than anything, is that you're doing something that you like and are interested in, because it comes across. And then you can slowly, you know, twiddle with the format or whatever to try and make it a bit more appealing. But I always think that core needs to stay the same. That core interest needs to be there. Play the weird little games you like, because that's what will be interesting to people, especially when you're smaller, especially starting out, because some random fucking channel playing the same fucking games that everyone else is playing is not... No one's ever going to pick up on that. No one gives a fuck anymore. At all. Anyway, I'm going to go now, because I've been 3 hours, and I'm tired. Tired. What's the rate? Sunday's a weird time for streaming. Our Booth is streaming. I'll rate Booth. Hi, Tyler, Michael. That is your name. I feel like I should rest my voice. Like, I wanted to rest my voice yesterday, but I'm like, fuck, I've just announced that fucking... Fuck, why do I have to get sick now? Why do I have to lose my voice now? Anyway. Ray Booth. Thanks for coming. I'll be streaming tomorrow, probably. Don't know about what time, but probably. Oh, I've been drinking so much tea, you have no idea. Oh,